everyone, irrespective of what part of the world you're joining us from, you're welcome to the PLAC Legislative Internship Podcast Series. My name is Samuel C. Chuku. I'm your host with the most, and I'm from Imo State, and I'm, I won't say a member per se, but I'm an intern with the Constitution Review Committee. As usual, I'm not here alone. I have some brilliant young men and women who will help us do justice to our topic for today. And I'll let them introduce themselves. So, ladies and gentlemen.
Musa Osman from Katsina State.
Hello, my name is Kendi Adesonwo from Ekiti State.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Nabila from Niger State.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Lawrence Edil. I'm from Cross River State. And you can see I'm with my girlfriend.
Objection. Off your mic. So you guys, you're all welcome. You're all welcome.
Thank you very much.
Today we have a very interesting topic. As you're all aware, the podcast series is one that highlights the various pertinent issues that have to do with legislation and governance in Nigeria. And as you can see, we're all youths. So we're going to be giving you the perspective of youths today. Our topic is very pivotal, like I rightly mentioned. Today we're talking about demanding accountability from elected representatives, a youth perspective. So let us just cut to the chase quickly. Adamu, tell us, how would you define accountability? And then in that same order, tell us if you were to rate the current state of accountability in Nigeria, what number would you give on a scale of 1 to 10?
Okay, thank you, Samuel. Actually, I will say accountability is an obligation for public officials, public institutions, and also elected representatives to act responsibly, transparently, and also in the best interest of the citizens that voted for them, and also to be justifiable for their actions as well. So actually, the current system of accountability that we have in Nigeria, if I'm going to rate it, I can, on a scale of 1 to 10, I can say I can give it 2 actually.
2?
Yeah, because we have existing mechanisms actually. But honestly, the mechanisms are not working. They are not bringing the desired result we expected.
Oh, interesting.
So
that is the lecturer's perspective. 2. Wow, that's
very bad.
So Nabila, how about you? What do you think?
I think I'll rate it a 3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it's not enough. We're trying. We have all these CSOs. They're out there trying
As
to...
watchdogs and all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then it's not enough.
Okay.
And for me, honestly, like, accountability, if I'm to vote for you, going out under the sun to vote for you, cast my vote, I would expect you to go through and follow through with what you have said you're going to do.
That's true.
So, like, that is just my own perspective. And I feel like that's a lot of people's perspective too.
Yeah. Kenny, is that your perspective?
Yeah, for me, I would say accountability is holding our elected representatives and leaders, holding them answerable, to keep true to their words and promises that they gave while they were out there campaigning.
Interested,
Yes, to rate it, I would say 4.
She has built us. No, the PLAC will push 2, 3. Come on now. Okay, 4.
We have the institutions, we have the system already established. All we just need is to, to make them to start working and, for what they should do or what they have been established to do. Yes, for them to start doing that. So, seeing that the institutions are already there, we are not starting from scratch.
Okay, that's a 4. Like, justify. Lawrence, what do you think?
Okay, to me, accountability is simply taking responsibilities for your actions or inactions.
Did you plan that right? Accountability, taking responsibility. This guy is a rapper.
But in this context, government officials, I think it's just standing by your words. If you promise to do this thing for the people and you are in power, then you should be able to do it. If you are not able to do it, then you should be answerable to it. To me, that's accountability. I know we have the mechanisms to check these people, but they are not working. They are mostly reactive instead of being proactive. So if I'm going to rate them, I'm going to range the accountability system in Nigeria. I'll probably give it a 2.
2?
Yes.
This is serious. Okay, so for me, I would just in defining accountability, I would like to quote a British parliamentarian.
Today's British, not US, so it's fine.
Yes, I'm known for quoting Americans, but today let's go British a bit. And his name is Lord Acton, and his quote is, "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." And also it is said that to whom much is given, much is expected. And from a legal perspective, as a lawyer, I know that Section 14 of the Constitution talks about sovereignty lying in the people. And that's why the preamble says, "We the people." So to measure all these points together, I believe accountability is a process where we the people can hold those persons that we have elected, we can hold them to I'm not talking of physically holding them, of course. We can hold them to do what they have said they will do, and to demand that the resources that have been committed to their hands are used in a justifiable manner. Well, that's beautiful. And I think we should also note the fact that one of us mentioned the role of CSOs. And there's one CSO that has stood out. And I'm not saying this with any form of flattery or sorcery. We know that PLAC has been consistent. Guys, can we give PLAC a round of applause? It's wonderful. The consistency in holding our government accountable. So that said, we're all posted to committees in the National Assembly. From your experience, can you tell us those mechanisms that the National Assembly has as per holding government officials accountable? What mechanisms have you noted in us? Adam, you want to go first? Okay, tell us.
So actually, there are existing mechanisms at National Assembly, but we have like the committee oversight basis. They used to go for oversight to check what the MDAs under them are doing. Are they actually doing the right thing? Because the National Assembly approved the budget that they approve funds that the government agencies use. So they go there and check, are they doing the right thing with that funds that were approved to them? We have that, and also we have public hearings and investigative hearings as well, where relevant stakeholders are invited. Public are invited on certain issues actually. So I think these are the current system of accountability that we have on National Assembly. But the problem is that we have these mechanisms, but actually they are not even giving the desired result. Actually, because a public hearing will be conducted or an investigative hearing will be conducted, and a resolution will be reached. After passing the resolution,
what happens?
It
just ends. True.
Because even the executive arm of government doesn't care of implementing the resolutions.
Adamu is angry.
And the issue is that it is said that the resolutions does not have any legal binding. So that's the problem. So actually, we have to.
You know, whenever I hear about investigative hearing, guess what comes to mind? Off the mic, distinguished off the mic. That's what comes to mind.
Projects like the Ajakuta Steel project, we have the Mambila in Taraba.
Different projects.
Every year, these things appear in the budget, and you can agree with me that National Assembly members, they go to these projects for oversight every year. But till date, these projects are not functional.
Dangote refinery is on the list now.
Now at the end of the day, why we do all these things? What is the end product? Are we actually getting the results? The answer is no, and that's the reason why I feel like the accountability system is very, very poor.
Lawrence, I have a statement. I put it to you. You were there.
No, I was not there.
I should check the record.
Check the record. I was not there.
Interesting. So, but Kenny, he mentioned something very important as to the oversight of MDAs, right? But besides the National Assembly, do you think there are other measures of accountability that have been put in place for?
Yes, there are other systems and mechanisms that have been put in place for accountability aside the National Assembly. For instance, we have the EFCC, we have the ICPC, we have the Public Complaints Commission, and even the Civic. All these have been put in place to ensure that our leaders, elected representatives, are held accountable for their actions.
Interesting.
But do we actually think it's working?
That's another.
It's not working because there is a fear of intimidation. You can go out there to say you want to. Not whistle blow, but sort of. I mean, everybody's just out for his stomach. You can't just come out and just report this or report that. A lot of Nigerians are just greedy. But then again, like youth participation, I feel like if we're trying to grow the whole awareness, we need to start from structural background. Like we need to start from the grassroots. We need to have like ambassadors, like in each constituency, probably 10 people, SUGs from SUGs, primary. Exactly. Have human data, be able to keep data and records to know that this and this and this took place, and this and
as
this and this.
Exactly. I get you. Okay, that's it. She just mentioned something very interesting, guys, about the youth perspective. Of course, the data varies. For instance, they say that the youth form about 60%. Some people will say 65%. Some will say 70. Whether it is 60, 65, or 70, we are plenty. So now, based on that data, it shows that the youths, we have a very instrumental role to play. But what challenges, and we need to talk as youths, of course, what challenges do we face in demanding accountability? Adam, you want to say something?
Before saying that, I want to raise an important point.
Okay, please.
we talk about the current accountability systems we have at the National Assembly. Yeah. But we need to talk about who are the accountability system that we have to check the National Assembly as well.
Okay. That's true.
Do we have any existing mechanism of checking the activities, holding the National Assembly members accountable for their actions?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, for example, there is the right to recall.
Very true.
Yeah, that right is enshrined in the Constitution, Section 69 and Section 110 makes that provision. But actually, that provision is almost practically impossible.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the problem, because if we want the National Assembly to perform very well, to like hold the executive arm of government accountable, we need them to be aware that the public are also going to hold them accountable for what they do.
That is true.
So that's very important, I think. Yeah.
Well said. There's another one, Seth. Though in Nigeria we're being careful. There's actually a right to protest. Yes. And I tell people the right to protest, though it's not stated explicitly in the Constitution, it can be stated under the freedom of expression. But I think since we're on air, we should also note that the right to protest must be peaceful. It must be. It's very funny in Nigeria, where there's a weaponization of poverty, stomach infrastructure. Exactly. So you're having a protest and then having a counter protest. It reminds me of debate in those days. You want to propose and there's someone to oppose the motion, and it makes it a whole caricature. But I think the right to protest is a right that can help to put our representatives in check when they know. And we always say it's not as if in other climes there's no corruption. The problem we have here is that our own caliber and species of corruption is done with impunity. So people will tell you we will do this and nothing will happen. But I think as youth we are here to say that the status quo must change. We must stand as beacons of change. And that takes me to that point now as to we're tech savvy. There's hardly any youth that's not involved one way or the other with technology, whether directly or indirectly. So, what role can we use in leveraging technology and social media to hold our elected representatives accountable? What role?
I would say that we have seen in the past, we saw what happened during the NSAS protest. That was like the top-notch or one of the most significant examples of how us leveraging technology to make our voices heard. I think youths, what we can do is to educate ourselves and leverage social media with hashtags, and we can hold like X spaces.
Like not only doing go and all that.
We can also bring our celebrities to use
influencers.
So imagine someone like Wizkid or Davido tweeting that go and get your PVC or go and vote. There are a lot of people that do things because I know somebody that drinks Aquafina water because of potential. So if you can use these people to also come in and educate the general public using social media, I think that we can use that to really demand accountability from our elected.
Beautiful.
True. But also like having data, like for me, I'm always keen to that, because at the end of the day, if you're even checking or googling some of these reps, they don't even have like
they don't have
they don't have any of that. You can just search for the name and you see different people popping up from Facebook. Like so I feel like we need to educate and also train or have at least educated people that are professional in terms of technology. Exactly. So that we'll be able to have data, and even with that we'll be able to rate this represent House of Reps or senators. That way, like, okay, as you're like going before, exactly, or at least you should have rankings, just as we have for hotels, we have for restaurants. Okay, if you're voting for this person, okay, what is his rank? Okay, is he 5-star? Is he 4-star? Is he 2? I feel like with that, they'll be able to even be more. They will put more effort into doing things.
Yeah, well said. Just because we're almost out of time, we just want to take final thoughts on the issue as to the role of youth in demanding accountability. So, Adam, what are your final thoughts?
Actually, my final thoughts would be like, since the youth form the majority of the population, and we have so much to offer actually, so like creating awareness, using social media, create awareness on the functions of legislators, function of even government officials as well. So that's very important, and also to make people aware, because there are existing mechanisms of accountability. But people are not aware.
That's
like
true.
The Freedom of Information
Act.
We have it, but many people are not aware of how to use it.
Sure.
And because that's very important as well.
Okay.
And there are some CSOs that used to offer accountability issues.
Yes.
Yeah, like we
Build
have
awareness and
budget.
all. Yeah,
we
yeah, I
have
get
like
you.
budget.
Quite a number of them.
Used to
Quite-
track,
yeah,
used to track
and
government
tracking and all,
activities,
yeah.
government spending.
Yeah.
We have tracker that
Yeah,
tracks
yeah.
these zonal intervention
Yeah.
projects. Yeah. So at least creating awareness both on social media and also going back to the community, local
The
community,
grassroots. The
yeah.
grassroots, yeah. That's it. So Kenny, how about you? Final thoughts on
Yes,
this?
I would say much more than ever before we have the resources at our disposal to ensure accountability of our leaders. For instance, the social media is to be used to our advantage.
Yeah.
As a youth, you don't have to go through the nooks and crannies of the country before you can educate
Very
fellow
true.
young people.
Very
and
true. Very
We
true.
have the social media to use to our advantage.
Yeah.
And I'm also of the opinion that it is doable. Yes, it is
It
possible
is doable.
for our leaders to be held accountable. We have hit the ground running. We're having the
Hit the
established systems and
Yeah.
mechanisms in place. All we need to do now is to set the ball rolling by making sure that they are functional, they are effective, and that the purpose for which they have been established, they are doing that.
I love that. We've hit the ground running, so we have to set the ball rolling. Interesting. Nabila, how
I
about-
think for me it's like mindset.
Okay.
The mindset is very important when it comes to that. As long as we know that okay, when we do this, we'll be able to get this result.
Yeah.
I mean, like, is it patriotism? I would say
Yeah.
if we're more patriotic,
Yeah.
we'll be able to like
Hold them accountable.
hold them accountable,
True.
knowing that we know our power. We know that okay, if you do this, you do that, we're going to take you out.
Exactly.
And no fear of intimidation, no fear of hunger. What did you call it? Stomach
infrastructure.
Knowing that if I go and do this, I
Yeah.
might not get this change in my pocket or whatever. I feel like the mindset is very, very important. But then we have hunger, so
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to cure that first.
Someone should give her placard now. She's ready to go to the streets. So Lawrence, how about you?
Okay, my final thoughts would be that we need to educate ourselves more, and this is where I have to commend PLAC for the incredible job they're doing by educating the youth.
I think we should come begin.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're equipping us with the technical skills
Yes.
to understand the legislative proceedings in Nigeria. So I think we need like a reorientation of the mind of our people. So
Yes.
during elections we hear stuff like Christian, Muslims, North, South. We need to reorientate ourselves that these things don't play out in
Exactly.
reality.
Yes, we're Nigerians.
So we need to educate ourselves. Then we need to invest more in educating ourselves using social media, so that at the end of the day, when we are coming out to demand for something, everybody will be on the same side.
Yes, I would end with the quote of my own 2 cents would be the quote of an American president.
Okay.
The 35th president of the United States once rightly noted, that's John F. Kennedy. He said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." But I believe he was a politician, and so I would like to rephrase that quote. It is okay for citizens to ask what their country can do for them.
Yes.
Exactly.
However, as we're asking what our country can do for us, we should also ask ourselves, what can we do for our country?
Country.
So. So that's it on today's topic. Let's quickly talk about news from the National Assembly. There's certain happenings in the National Assembly. So, Lawrence, what have you noticed in the National Assembly this week?
I think this week,
Besides the oversight envelope, the one you mentioned,
this week, I think what is in everybody's mouth this week is the fact that they are sharing rice.
Oh my God, Lawrence!
I remember my clerk coming to tell me that he couldn't sleep last night because his wife heard that they were sharing rice and he did not register. So I think that is the major thing that's happening.
Interesting.
Actually, they're not sharing it for free.
Okay, I think
No, they're not sharing it for free.
Oh boy, how do you guys get all this information?
we are active in our
I'm
committee.
focused on hearings and not even.
Okay,
Yes.
There have not been much of hearing. There has not been any hearing going on.
Plenary,
Plenary
yes.
sessions
Yes.
have been
On hold,
adjourned
yes,
to,
till the 19th.
to enable the
Yeah.
legislator to
Carry out oversight.
Yes.
Well said.
over the MPs
Yes,
that are
yes,
directly
that's
on
right.
their
Yeah, but there were 2 hearings that happened this week.
Yeah.
One was on the Hatch Commission, investigative hearings, and the other one was on the
investment
Security
and
and-
security
the bill to amend.
trying
And
to
we'll
amend.
check out how those things roll out.
Yeah.
So it's been a wonderful time of knowledge sharing and learning in a podcast that has been strategically designed and carefully curated for these objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure having this conversation, and we'll move forward to make Nigeria better. So have a wonderful, wonderful time. And to our viewers, it was beautiful having you today. Please be the change you want to see in Nigeria. And from us, it's a good bye-bye.
And just to conclude, I would say we want to shout out to PLAC and the European Union.
Of course.
For
thank you, PLAC and the European Union
for supporting this project.
For this project. And we believe that the youth that will come out from this process, like ourselves, will change the narrative. So thank you, PLAC. Thank you, EU. And thank you for joining us today. Bye, guys.